Hello and welcome back. This is the third subtopic in our video lesson for chapter 11. So we look at 11.3, which is lymphocyte development. So when we're learning about the lymphocyte development, we only have one learning objective, which is you should be able to describe the B cells and the T cells that are involved in your immune response. So, first of all, let's talk about what are the cells that are involved in immune response. So, for you to be immune to a certain pathogen, for you to stay healthy and all, you will actually depend on many types of cells. Number one, you will depend on macrophages. So, this is like the most basic white blood cell that you would have in your body. Okay, sel darah putih yang paling asas, yang paling utama, yang akan buat fagositosis dalam badan kamu. Ini adalah sel yang penting untuk immune response, tapi bukan dia saja. Other than macrophage, you have a cell that we call as helper T cells. So they will be helping macrophage and they will be helping other white blood cells in your body to respond to infections. We have the cytotoxic T cell, which is what we call as killer T cells. We will look at their function in more specific when we look at 11.4 immune response. But for now, we just know that their name is cytotoxic T cell or killer T cells. We have B cells, which is like the basic form of this white blood cell. Later, it can differentiate into plasma cell and memory B cells. Plasma cells are the cells that will create or secrete antibodies, whereas the memory B cells will have a slightly different function and is actually more important during a second exposure or second infection to the same antigens. Lastly, we have memory helper T cells, which will help remember what to do or how to react to a certain infection the second time that it comes around. So, ini adalah sel-sel yang kamu akan jumpa lagi dalam 11.4. Buat masa sekarang, kita tengok dulu pasal ini, lymphocytes. So, you remember the word lymphocyte. We learned about this before in a previous chapter when we talk about the lymphatic system. Lymphocytes are white blood cells that will be produced with the help of the lymphatic system, and they can also travel in the blood. They can travel in the lymphatic system as well. So, mari kita tengok di sini penghasilan lymphocyte untuk yang digelar sebagai B cell atau T cells. So, lymphocytes or these white blood cells will originate from stem cells in the bone marrow or in the liver of a developing fetus. So, kamu punya sel darah putih, dia berasal daripada stem cell di dalam sumsum tulang, ataupun kalau di dalam baby yang belum lahir, dia adalah di dalam hati baby tersebut. Those stem cells will later develop into T cells or B cells. Kalau stem cell itu kekal di dalam kamu punya sumsum tulang, if the stem cell remains in the bone marrow of the person, it will later develop into the B cell, but some of them will migrate over to the thymus. So, ada ini stem cell yang akan berhijrah pergi kepada kamu punya thymus. If they remain in the bone marrow, they will continue their maturation and later become the white blood cell that we know as B cells. So, dia kekal di sana, dia B cell. B for bone marrow. But if they migrate from the bone marrow to the thymus, they will develop into T cells in the thymus organ itself. So, T for thymus, kalau dia matang, dia membesar dan matang di dalam thymus, dia jadi T cell. Bila dia jadi T cell, dia mungkin jadi satu daripada ini dua jenis. It might become a cytotoxic T cell or it might become a helper T cell. Later, both of the B cells and the T cells will work together in your lymphoid tissue. At the early stages, they all look alike. Okay, so during early stage, early lymphocytes, they're all alike. Only when they go into the B cell and the T cell stage will they have different appearance and different functions. So here we have some comparison on the B cells and T cells. Kalau B cell, dia sudah aktif, dia akan memperbanyak, it will be activated and proliferate, and it will form clones. Clones of B cells can become one of two types. Kalau B cell, dia mungkin jadi memory B cell, atau dia mungkin menjadi plasma cell. Kalau T cell pula, bila dia proliferate, bila dia memperbanyak, dia mungkin jadi mana-mana daripada 4 jenis sel di sini. It might become cytotoxic T cell, it might become helper T cells, it might become memory T cells, it might become suppressor T cell. Suppressor T cell boleh disamakan dengan activated cytotoxic T cells. So suppressor T cells are also known as activated cytotoxic T cells. Here is a reference in popular media. So we have the anime cells at work, and you can actually see that they have given different personalities and different characteristics to the two types or the two categories of T cells. Here we have the helper T cells and the killer T cells. And we also have a different design, different method of attacking infections as shown with the B cells. So this one is kind of optional information. If you have watched this show before, maybe you can relate your experience to it. But if you haven't watched, it's not really a prerequisite. Tidak pernah tengok pun tidak dipaksa mau tengok juga. So this is just extra information relating to popular media. Okay, so just kind of a quick overview again. With your lymphocytes, we have a look at B cells and T cells. T cells, they kind of look similar. They can bind to antigens, and they will have receptors. But B cells mostly attack invaders outside of the cells. B cell akan target kuman-kuman yang berada di luar sel badan kita, yang belum menjangkit kita punya sel kulit, belum jangkit kita punya sel darah. Itulah patogen yang akan dibunuh oleh B cell. T cells, on the other hand, will attack infected cells. Kerja T cell lebih kepada mencari sel badan kita yang sudah dijangkit oleh patogen dan kemudian kasih mati. B cells are the ones that produce antibodies. T cells are the ones that would be killing, and helper T cells will be the ones that will identify the pathogen and kind of just let the other cells know who to attack. Cytotoxic T cells will be the one producing granzyme and perforin, which are two enzymes that it uses to kill infected cells. So that is it for 11.3. I hope to see you again in the next video for 11.4, and I hope you learned something good about B cells and T cells. Make sure you complete the worksheets. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.